There's an airport that I've wanted to visit for as long as I can remember. No, it's not this one here at St Martin, but it's not far away. St Barts is one of the world's most extreme airports. To land there, you have to fly down a really steep hill before landing on a really short runway. And if you're unlucky, you end up in the really deep sea at the other end of the runway. It's not for the faint-hearted. There's no second chances. Pilots need special training just to be able to land there. And today, I'm going to be seeing if I've got what it takes to join those pilots and land a plane at St Barts.
First though, I wanted to see how the professionals did it, so I'd booked a flight over on an airline called St Barts Commuter. The main takeaway I got from my time in the Caribbean was that the weather here is a lot like Scotland. 1 minute sunny, the next torrential rain. As the rain eased slightly, my ride to St Barts arrived. St Barts Commuter operate a fleet of 5 Cessna 208 caravans operating from St Barts to Guadeloupe and St Martin, where they serve both Juliana airports and here at Grand Casse on the French side of the island. The Cessna caravan does have a great view of the flight deck, and I was lucky enough to bag a front row seat. Over to St Barts takes about 10 minutes at less than 1,000 feet. After a couple of minutes, the island of St Barts started appearing from the gloom, and I got ready to enjoy one of the most unique approaches in the world. The approach to runway 10 at St Barts involves skimming the top of a hill before nosediving down a hill and touching down on the incredibly short runway, which is shorter than the runway I fly the PA-28 from at home. Today we were landing down the hill and I held on tight to enjoy the ride. After we'd landed, I was surprised to see just how close the runway gets to the beach at the other end of the runway.
So here then at St Barts, and what an amazing approach and landing that was. I mean, my heart was racing as I came down the approach. Those pilots, second nature to them, they do it every day in and day out. But for me, as the first time here, it was just simply incredible to come and see that hill approaching and then dive down. And it's much steeper than it actually looks. Not entirely sure what it's going to be like to fly a plane in here. We'll find out later on. So if you can see the runway behind me here, we've got the steep hill up that far end, so the pilots have to come over the hill, nosedive to the runway, which is pretty short. The other end of the runway is just down here, and you can see there's like a beach right across the top of the runway there, and pilots have come unstuck there before and overran. If you don't land before this second taxiway, you end up in the drink at the other end. Coming from the other end, if you land over the beach again, you have to make a decision before 500 feet whether you're going to land here or not, because otherwise there's nowhere to climb. The hills all around you are too high to be able to climb the plane around at those low speeds as you do a go around, so they have to make a decision really early. Either way you come into this airport, it's tough. So this is the sea at the other end of the runway where the planes end up if they don't stop in time. You can see we've got the runway right just here, then a little bit of sand, and then the waves lapping from the sea behind. You don't really want to be messing this up, do you?
After a few minutes I heard a faint drone of a twin otter on approach, and I got to see firsthand what I'd be attempting later on today.
Look at that, very nicely done. God, he even made the first exit as well. I've just noticed as well that the runway slopes down from up there down towards the sea, so the landing runs are going to be a little bit longer with the slope away from the touchdown zone at the other end. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Whoa, well early. Now the turn of the little single engine PC12. Here he comes. Anytime now. Whoa! Holy mother! This place is just absolutely insane, and I can't believe I'm about to try landing a plane here for myself. Gosh, this hill's steeper than it looks. Wow. So this is the runway then from the other end. So we're at the top of the hill now by the roundabout, the famous roundabout, and the aircraft that come in on approach come in over here, straight over the hill, and then nosedive down this hill onto the runway here at St Barts, and hope they don't run off the other end. So looking at the approach here then into St Barts, and it is pretty interesting. We've got the famous roundabout here, and then just here is the hill that slopes right the way down to the runway behind me. So you come in essentially on a normal approach by the looks of it, until you get to this point here, and you have to essentially clip the top of this hill without actually hitting it, and then nosedive down that hill to the runway. I think the main thing looking at this is going to be the speed control, and that could be a bit of an issue for me because I typically have issues with my speed control on approach. A little bit nervous now, to be honest. Wow, how flipping cool was that? And I need to get back to the terminal now because he's going to take me over to St Martin. I'm going to pick up the Cessna and bring it over here to have a go at doing that myself. Eek. Hi there, how are you? Thank you.
You got a nice t-shirt.
Oh, you like it? Boeing A380. Yeah, it's a Boeing A380.
Yeah. I was like, wow, what's wrong with it?
Thank you.
And don't forget, you too could win the admiration of pilots worldwide with my exclusive Boeing A380 t-shirt, available exclusively in the merch store at noelphillips.com. Blown away by my incredible fashion sense, the pilot fired up the Cessna 208 to take us back to St Martin. My ride back over to St Martin was to Juliana Airport, which features the fantastic approach and landing over Maho Beach. So back at Juliana Airport in SXM, St Martin. Now I'm heading across to Grand Cas to take the Cessna back to St Barts.
There's a plane going now, let's watch him go.
Visiting St Barts had fulfilled a lifelong ambition, but now it was time to see if I had what it took to land a plane there, or at least that was the plan anyway. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to check out my video from another incredible extreme airport, Lukla in Nepal. The link's on the screen now. As the afternoon went on, the clouds rolled in. In between pockets of sunshine, the showers from that morning were back with a vengeance. I remained optimistic and we decided to give it a go. We'd only need 20 minutes to fly to St Barts and back, which, if we were lucky, would allow us to dodge the storms and get back safely to St Martin before the next storm.
Hello, how are you? They must have known I was coming. They've given me possibly the rudest registration ever. Oh, cool. Let's take bums to St Barts.
For the Volkswagen Uniforme Sierra, landing up and taking off for runway 12.
And wind check is 070 degrees, 09 knots. Confirm you're proceeding direct to St Barts.
That is correct. We proceed St Barts, we will see missed approach to St Barts, and after we back here for the Volkswagen Uniforme Sierra.
Roger that.
Good power.
Fox Mike Sierra, did you copy?
Wait. Say again, Mike Sierra.
The traffic which is airborne, just advise you that right now in St Barts is actually raining.
Okay, copied. We try for the best in case we back here.
Now, to a British pilot, hearing about it raining at the destination wasn't an immediate red flag. After all, I fly in rain quite a lot here at home. But as we were taking off, we both missed the conversation between the tower and the St Barts commuter pilot, who it seemed had tried an approach to St Barts and was diverting to Juliana due to the deteriorating weather.
Because you have heavy?
Yeah, the conditions in St Barts deteriorated. The twin otter went back to Juliana.
Okay. Well, for information, Cessna 150 is airborne. Initial climb may 12.
Copy.
I think it's more showers, not too bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Time heading 150. Once again, the tower controller reported a weather update from St Barts.
Hey, Fox and Mike Sierra, ankles.
Go ahead, Mike Sierra.
St Barts informed that there's a heavy shower rain actually in St Barts in 100 meters visibility.
Copy, sir. For the moment you have very far in case we back to Grand Castle for the Fox Bravo information.
Roger that. Just advising.
Thank you, sir.
We still weren't visual with St Barts, but we weren't giving up that easily. We were both determined to be able to do this.
I know see St Barts, you know, the weather is not really...
Suddenly, the shape of St Barts emerged from the gloom on the horizon, and things started to look up. At least for a moment.
Oh, there we are. 1 o'clock? Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. Okay. St Barts, the Fox Bravo Uniforme Sierra. Good afternoon.
Fox Mike Sierra, Martin for
Bonjour, established at 1,300 feet in the corridor for the data.
Runway 10, 100 degrees at 13, gusting at 37, QNH 1013, runway west, very for traffic.
Copied. We proceed and they call back for sure. We are 1,300 feet due to weather for the Fox Bravo information.
Adrian, say your intention afterwards.
The report of wind gusting to 37 knots was not a good sign. St Barts has a hard limit of 20 knots of wind even for experienced pilots flying twin otters, let alone a Cessna 152 on a training flight. Still, we carried on for now, just in case it might have eased by the time we got there.
104 Bravo, good afternoon.
Hello, sir. We're still over Sluga. We've got a ways to go. Juliana told us to check in with you and see what the weather's doing. He said it was less than 1 mile a few minutes ago.
As we got closer, yet another shower moved in, and this time I heard the words I'd been dreading.
Okay, now the weather is not very nice. We back to Grand Castle for the Fox Bravo Uniforme Sierra.
There's no other way to put it. I was absolutely gutted. We got so close, but ultimately the weather meant that we had no choice but to go back to Grand Cass. Still, at least the tower controller in Grand Cass seemed amused.
Fox Bravo Mike Sierra, go ahead.
Yeah, the visibility is not very nice. We back to Grand Cass at 1,000 feet for the Fox Bravo Uniforme Sierra.
Only use 12, the wind is 070 degrees, 09 knots. QNH 1013, temperature is 30. Report Tamar.
1013 sarei call back at Beam Tamar for travel information.
Just enjoy the ride, my friend.
But enjoying the ride wasn't easy, despite the beautiful turquoise sea and white sandy beaches we were flying over. I just felt like I'd completely failed.
Sierra, welcome back to Grand Cars. Temperature is 30.
Okay, nice. Well, there we go. We gave it a good go in Bums, and it was a no-go. The weather is just too bad at the minute. Weather here is just so changeable right now. It's 1 minute it's beautiful and sunny like it was when we left, and the next we have tropical storms coming in. So we tried, we failed. So back here on St Martin, tried my best, but I've still had a nice day. We've had some fun travelling to St Barts on the Cessna Caravan this morning. I still got to go to St Barts, which was incredible. Like, that was just a phenomenal experience, and doing that approach and landing there in the Cessna Caravan was just incredible, and seeing the planes come in and go in there as well was just a fantastic day. So I've had a really good day, even if I couldn't finish it by landing there myself. So on that disappointment, take care, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Good lord. Pigs on the road. Could have had a nice pork dinner then.